Darkness. That's all there was at first. Deep, comfortable darkness that didn't hurt. Then came the voices. Distant at first, like listening underwater. Blood pressure dropping. Need more units. Losing her.
Korean.
Medical terminology. The sharp smell of antiseptic and blood. I tried to open my eyes, but they were too heavy. Tried to speak, but my throat was full of something. A tube. My nurse's brain supplied helpfully. Then a hand gripped mine.
Warm.
Rough.
Familiar.
Don't you dare leave me. Min-ho's voice, raw and broken. Fight, Esther.
Please. Fight.
I wanted to squeeze his hand back, to tell him I was trying, but the darkness pulled me under again. When I finally woke up, really woke up, it was to white ceiling tiles and the steady beep of a heart monitor. Hospital. Private room, judging by the space and the expensive equipment. And Min-ho, asleep in a chair beside my bed, his hand still holding mine. He looked terrible, unshaven, dark circles under his eyes, his expensive suit wrinkled and stained with what I realized was my blood. How long had he been here? I tried to speak, but my throat was desert dry. The movement must have registered on the monitors, because Min-ho's eyes snapped open immediately. For a second, he just stared at me. Then his face crumpled with relief, so profound it was almost painful to watch. Esther. He stood, leaned over me, his hands framing my face like he was afraid I'd disappear. You're awake. Oh God, you're awake. Water. I managed to croak. He immediately grabbed a cup with a straw, held it to my lips. The water was the most beautiful thing I'd ever tasted. How long? I asked once I could speak properly. 5 days. His voice was rough. You were in surgery for 8 hours. The bullet collapsed your lung, nicked an artery. You died twice on the operating table. His hands were shaking. But you came back. You fought and you came back. Chioma? The name came out panicked. Safe. She's here in Seoul, staying at the penthouse with round-the-clock security. He smoothed my hair back from my face. She hasn't left the hospital except to shower. She's been here every day, talking to you, praying for you. Relief flooded through me. And Jay Huk. Min-ho's expression went cold. Alive.
Barely.
Do-yoon shot him 3 times during the firefight at Dongdaemun. He's in custody, ours, not the police. We have him in a secure location. Waiting for me to wake up before you kill him. Waiting for you to decide what happens to him. Min-ho's dark eyes met mine. You were the one he shot. You were the one he used as bait. This is your justice to claim.
I thought about that.
About Song Jae-hyuk and his cruelty, his willingness to murder innocents, his twisted need for revenge. About my sister's terrified face. About the bullet in my back.
I want to see him, I said.
Min-ho's eyebrows rose. Esther. I want to look him in the eye. And then I'll decide. He studied me for a long moment, then nodded slowly. When you're strong enough. The doctors say you need at least another week before. I'm strong enough now. You were shot 5 days ago. And I'm awake now. I'm talking. I'm thinking clearly. I tried to sit up and immediately regretted it as pain lanced through my chest. Min-ho was there instantly, supporting me, adjusting the bed. Okay, maybe not that strong. But soon. I want to see him soon. Why? Min-ho asked quietly. Why put yourself through that? Because he needs to see that he didn't break me. That shooting me, terrorizing my family, trying to destroy you, all of it failed. I met his gaze. And because I need to see him powerless. I need to know that the monster who haunted my nightmares is just a man. A pathetic, defeated man. Understanding flickered in Min-ho's eyes. 3 days. Give yourself 3 days to heal. Then I'll take you to him.
Deal.
He leaned down and kissed my forehead, gentle as a prayer. I thought I lost you. When you went down at Dongdaemun, when I saw the blood, his voice broke. I've lost everyone I've ever loved. I couldn't lose you too. You didn't, I whispered. I'm right here. And I'm not going anywhere. He kissed me then, carefully avoiding my injuries, and it tasted like relief and salt and promises. The next 3 days passed in a blur of doctors, medications, and visitors. Chioma came first, breaking down in tears the moment she saw me awake. My baby sister, who I'd sent money to for years, who I protected from everything I could, now she'd seen the darkest parts of my new world. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed in Yoruba, holding my hand. "This is my fault. If I hadn't been in Nigeria, if I'd been more careful." "Stop," I interrupted firmly. "This is not your fault. This is Song Jae-hyuk's fault, and he's going to pay for it." She looked at me with wide eyes. "What are you going to do to him?" I thought about lying, about protecting her innocence. But she'd already seen too much. "I don't know yet," I admitted. "But whatever it is, he'll deserve it." Chioma was quiet for a moment. Then, "I always thought you were crazy for staying in Korea, for working those terrible hours for nothing pay. I thought you should come home, be with family." She squeezed my hand. "But I understand now. You stayed because you found something here."
Someone.
"Min-ho loves you, Esther. Really loves you. The way he's been these past days. I've never seen a man so terrified of losing someone." "He's a good man," I said softly. "He's a criminal," she corrected, but not unkindly. "But he's also a good man. Those things can both be true." She was wiser than I'd given her credit for. Duyun visited next, formal and respectful, bringing flowers and an update on the organization. "The family has rallied behind boss," he reported in English for my benefit. "What you did at Dongdaemun, warning us about the snipers, sacrificing yourself to protect civilians. Word spread. The captains are calling you the Lioness. You've earned their respect." "I didn't do it for respect," I said. "I know. That's why it matters." He bowed slightly. "You're everything a boss's wife should be. Strong, brave, loyal. We're honored to serve you, Mrs. Kong." After he left, I turned to Min-ho. "The Lioness?" He smiled, the first real smile I'd seen from him in days. "It suits you. Nigerian queen, fierce protector. They're not wrong. I'm a nurse who got shot. You're a woman who warned us about danger even when it put you at risk. You're a woman who fought back against a man holding a gun to your spine. You're a woman who survived 2 bullets and came back stronger." He took my hand. "You're a lioness, Esther. My lioness." The way he said it, with such pride and love, made my heart swell. On the 3rd day, I was strong enough to walk. Slowly, painfully, but on my own feet. "It's time," I told Min-ho. "Take me to see him." The secure location was an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of Seoul. Not the romantic kind from movies, just a cold, utilitarian building that smelled like rust and fear. Song Jae-hyuk was chained to a metal chair in the center of an empty room. 3 of Duyun's men stood guard, but they left when Min-ho waved them away.
It was just the 3 of us now.
Jae-hyuk looked nothing like the confident, cruel man from Dongdaemun. His expensive suit was gone, replaced by blood-stained clothes. His face was bruised and swollen. Duyun's bullets had done serious damage. I could see bandages wrapped around his torso and shoulder. He looked up when we entered, and his swollen eyes focused on me. "The nurse lives," he rasped in English. "Surprising. I was aiming for your heart." "You missed," I said simply. "Clearly." He coughed, and blood flecked his lips. "So what now? You've come to gloat? To watch your husband torture me? To pull the trigger yourself?" I walked closer, ignoring Min-ho's protective instinct to stop me. I wanted to look Jay Huk in the eye. "I came to understand," I said. He laughed, bitter and wet. "Understand what?"
Why?
"Why all of this? Why the territory war? Why kidnapping my sister? Why shooting me?" I studied his face. "Min-ho told me about the history between your families. Business disputes, territory disagreements. But this," I gestured at him, at the situation. "This is personal. So why?" Jay Huk was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke, his voice raw. "Because he has everything." He looked at Min-ho with pure hatred. The organization, the respect, the power. He killed my brother 5 years ago over a shipping dispute, and the family did nothing because Kang Min-ho is untouchable. And then his eyes shifted to me. Then he gets you. Another chance at love after Sarah. Another beautiful woman who looks at him like he's worth something despite the blood on his hands. Understanding dawned. This was never about territory.
No.
Jay Huk smiled, bitter. This was about making him suffer the way I suffered. Making him lose everything the way I lost everything. Your brother's death, Min-ho spoke for the first time, his voice cold, was justified. He was stealing from our joint operations, planning to betray both our families to the Yakuza. I gave him a choice, exile or death. He chose to fight. He was 23 years old. He was a traitor. Min-ho's voice was implacable. And you know our world, Jay Huk. You know the rules. Betrayal means death. I don't care about your rules. Jay Huk screamed, straining against his chains. He was my baby brother. And you killed him like he was nothing. The pain in his voice was real.
Raw.
Grief turned to poison over 5 years. I looked at this broken man and felt something unexpected. Pity. I'm sorry about your brother, I said quietly. I'm sorry you lost him. I'm sorry that grief turned you into this. I took a breath. But you made choices. You could have grieved. You could have moved on. Instead, you chose revenge. You chose to hurt innocent people, my sister, the civilians at Dongdaemun. You chose to become a monster. So did he. Jay Huk spat, nodding at Min-ho. Yes, I agreed.
He did.
Min-ho has blood on his hands. He's made terrible choices. He's hurt people. I glanced at Min-ho, who was watching me with an unreadable expression. But he's also trying to be better.
For me.
For us. He's choosing love over revenge. Growth over destruction. I turned back to Jay Huk. You could have made that choice too. But you didn't. And now here we are. So kill me, Jay Huk said flatly. That's why you came, isn't it? To watch me die. I thought about it. About justice and revenge. About the cycle of violence that had consumed both these men and their families. Then I made my decision. No, I said. I'm not going to kill you. Both men stared at me in shock. Esther, Min-ho started. I'm not going to kill you, I repeated, looking at Jay Huk. Because that's what you want. Death would be easy. An escape from the pain and the guilt and the knowledge that you failed. I leaned down so we were eye to eye. Instead, you're going to live. You're going to go into exile, far from Korea, far from your organization, far from everyone you know. You're going to live with the knowledge that you lost everything. Your power, your revenge, your purpose. You're going to live a long, boring, meaningless life somewhere nobody knows your name. Jay Huk's eyes widened with horror. That's worse than death. I know. I straightened up. But I'm a nurse, Jay Huk. I save lives, even when people don't deserve it. Even when they've tried to kill me. So I'm saving yours. Not out of mercy. Out of spite. I turned to Min-ho.
Exile. Permanent.
If he ever sets foot in Korea again, then you can kill him. But until then, he lives with his failure. Min-ho studied me for a long moment, then nodded slowly. As you wish. He pulled out his phone, spoke rapid Korean to someone arranging the exile I assumed. Jay Huk would be on a plane by morning, shipped off to some distant country to live out his days in obscurity. A fate worse than death for a man who craved power and recognition. As we turned to leave, Jay Huk called out, You think you've won? You think this is over? I looked back at him.
Yes. Ido.
You're living in a fantasy. He's a killer, Esther. A criminal. One day you'll wake up and realize the monster you married, and it'll destroy you the way it destroyed Sarah. I walked back to him, and this time there was steel in my voice. I'm not Sarah. I didn't stumble into this world blind and naive. I chose it. I chose him. With full knowledge of who he is and what he's done. I smiled. And unlike you, I'm not letting the past poison my future. Min-ho and I are building something new. Something better. Something you'll never understand because you're too consumed by hate. I straightened up. Enjoy your exile, Jay Huk. I hope every day of your long, meaningless life, you remember the Nigerian nurse who beat you. His scream of rage followed us out of the warehouse. In the car on the way back to the city, Min-ho was quiet. You're angry, I said. You wanted him dead. I wanted justice for what he did to you, Min-ho corrected. But you chose mercy instead. Not mercy, strategy. I looked out the window at Seoul passing by. If you kill him, his family retaliates. His allies rally. The cycle continues. But exile? That sends a message. The Kong family is strong enough to show mercy, confident enough to spare our enemies. It makes you look powerful, not weak. Min-ho pulled the car over suddenly, turned to face me. You're brilliant, he said. Do you know that? Absolutely brilliant. I'm a nurse. You're my queen. He cupped my face. And you just played the most masterful political move I've seen in 15 years. Jay Huk lives, which appeases the moderates in both organizations who are worried about all-out war. But he's exiled in disgrace, which satisfies our hardliners who wanted blood. You gave everyone what they needed while ending the conflict. I hadn't thought of it in those terms, but he was right. So, what happens now? I asked.
Now. Min-ho smiled.
Now we keep the promise we made. We leave Seoul. Leave the organization. Start over somewhere safe. My heart skipped. You're serious? You'd really walk away. I told you. I'd give up everything for you. And I meant it. He took my hand. Do-yoon can run the organization. He's loyal, smart, ruthless when needed. The captains respect him. And with Jay Huk gone, there's no immediate threat. It's the perfect time to step back. Where would we go? Anywhere you want. London.
Paris.
Back to Nigeria, if you prefer. Or somewhere new, New Zealand, Canada, somewhere we can disappear and just live. The idea was intoxicating. A normal life. No guns, no violence, no looking over our shoulders.
But
what about Chioma? I asked.
She's in Seoul now.
She's seen this world. We can't just abandon her. She comes with us, Min-ho said immediately. Your family is my family. We'll set her up wherever we go. Make sure she finishes university, has everything she needs. And your uncle? The organization? They'll just let you walk away. Min-ho's expression darkened slightly. That will be a conversation.
But yes.
I've given 15 years of my life to this family. I've bled for them, killed for them, built an empire for them. I'm owed this. I wanted to believe it could be that simple. But I'd learned enough about this world to know nothing was ever simple. The meeting with Min-ho's uncle happened 3 days later, after I was released from the hospital. It took place in the same traditional hanok where we'd gotten married, though this time, the atmosphere was anything but celebratory. Min-ho's uncle sat across from us, his expression unreadable. Do-yoon stood behind him, along with the other senior captains. The entire leadership of the Kong organization. You want to retire, the uncle said flatly in Korean. At 34 years old. In the middle of the strongest position we've held in a decade. Yes, Min-ho replied in the same language. I could follow most of it now. My Korean had improved rapidly out of necessity. Why? Min-ho glanced at me, then back at his uncle. Because I'm tired. Tired of violence, of looking over my shoulder, of living in a world where the woman I love gets shot because of my enemies. I want a normal life. There is no normal life for men like us, the uncle said. You know this. Maybe not, but I'm going to try anyway. The uncle's eyes shifted to me. He switched to English. This is your influence, isn't it? You've made him soft. I've made him happy, I corrected. There's a difference. Happiness is a luxury we can't afford in this business. Then maybe it's a shitty business, I said bluntly. Several of the captains shifted uncomfortably at my directness, but I didn't back down. You've built an empire on blood and fear. You've made billions. But what's the point if you can't enjoy it? If you can't love freely? If you die young and alone? The uncle studied me with those cold, calculating eyes. You're very different from Sarah. Yes, I am. She wanted to pull Min-ho out of this world too. Wanted him to abandon his family, his responsibilities, his honor. We all know how that ended. The implication was clear. Sarah's desire to leave had gotten her killed. Min-ho stood abruptly, his hands flat on the table. Don't, he said, his voice dangerous. Don't compare them. And don't suggest that Esther will meet the same fate. I'm not the same man I was 5 years ago. Aren't you? The uncle leaned back. You're still Min-ho. Still my brother's son. Still a killer. Still bound by blood, an oath to this family. I fulfill my oaths, Min-ho said. I've expanded our territory, eliminated our enemies, brought honor to the family name. I'm not running away, I'm retiring. And I'm asking for your blessing to do it. Silence filled the room. Then the uncle spoke, and his words chilled me to the bone.
No.
Min-ho went very still.
What?
I said no. You don't have my blessing. You don't have permission to leave. The uncle's voice was iron. You are the heir to this organization, Min-ho. The captains follow you. The soldiers respect you. You are the future of the Kong family. And I will not allow you to throw that away for, he glanced at me dismissively, a woman you've known for less than 2 months. Uncle, this discussion is over. He stood. You will remain as head of operations. You will continue to lead. And your wife, the word dripped with disdain, will learn her place. The other captains were watching carefully, gauging the situation. I could see the calculation in their eyes. Would Min-ho fight this? Would he choose me over the family? And what would happen if he did? Min-ho's voice when he spoke was quiet.
Deadly.
I love you, uncle. I respect you. You raised me after my father died. You taught me everything I know about this business.
He paused.
But I'm not asking for permission anymore. I'm telling you, I'm leaving. With Esther. With her sister. And you can accept it gracefully, or you can try to stop me. But I promise you, if you choose to stop me, it will tear this organization apart. The temperature in the room plummeted. The uncle's face went cold. Are you threatening me, nephew?
I am stating facts.
Half the captains are loyal to me personally. The soldiers follow my orders. If you force me to choose between you and my wife, I'll choose her. And I'll take half the organization with me when I go. It was a declaration of war. Not with bullets, but with words that carried just as much weight. Do-yun stepped forward. Boss, Min-ho, think about what you're saying. I have thought about it. Min-ho looked around the room, meeting each captain's eyes. For 15 years, I've bled for this family. I've sacrificed everything. My youth, my conscience, my chance at a normal life. I've earned the right to walk away. And anyone who tries to stop me, his hand moved to his jacket, where I knew he kept a gun, will regret it. The standoff was broken by an unexpected voice. Let him go. Everyone turned to look at Do-yun. What? The uncle demanded. Let him go, Do-yun repeated, stepping forward. Boss is right. He's given everything to this family. He's earned his retirement. He looked at Min-ho with something like respect. And he's right that forcing him to stay will only create division. Better to let him leave with honor than to fight a civil war. One of the other captains, Park, the gambling operation leader, nodded slowly. Do-yun is right. And frankly, if boss trusts Do-yun to run operations, I trust boss's judgment. We can make this work. Another captain agreed. Then another. The uncle looked around the room, seeing his control slipping and his face twisted with fury.
You're all fools, he spat.
This woman has bewitched him, made him weak. And you're just going to let him walk away? He's not walking away, Do-yun said calmly. He's transitioning leadership in an orderly fashion. There's a difference. And Mrs. Kong, he nodded respectfully to me, has proven herself loyal to this family. She saved boss's life. She stood up to Song Jay Huk. She took a bullet meant for civilians. That's not weakness. That's strength. The uncle stared at Do-yun for a long moment, then at Min-ho, then at me. Finally, he spoke. Fine. You want to leave?
Leave.
But understand this. Once you walk away, you're no longer family.
You don't get to come back.
You don't get to ask for help or protection. You're on your own. I understand, Min-ho said. And her, he pointed at me. If she causes problems, if she talks to authorities, if she compromises this organization in any way, the protection ends. Permanently. She won't, Min-ho said with absolute certainty. The uncles snorted. We'll see. You have 1 month to transfer your responsibilities to Do-yeon. After that, you're out. Civilian. Free to live your pathetic normal life. He moved toward the door, then paused. I hope she's worth it, Min-ho. I hope when you're old and bored and soft, you don't look back and regret throwing away your legacy for a woman. Min-ho looked at me, and his smile was soft and genuine. I won't, he said simply. The uncle left, taking most of the captains with him. Only Do-yeon remained. Thank you, Min-ho said quietly. Don't thank me yet. You've got a month of the hardest work of your life ahead of you. Transitioning 15 years of operations, relationships, deals. It's going to be brutal. Do-yeon smiled slightly. But I'll help. And boss, he switched to English, looking at me. Take care of him, Mrs. Kong. He's giving up everything for you. Make sure it's worth it. I will, I promised. After Do-yeon left, Min-ho pulled me into his arms. We did it, he whispered against my hair. We're free. Almost free, I corrected. 1 month of transition first. 1 month, he agreed. And then the rest of our lives. That month was the longest and shortest of my life. Min-ho worked 18-hour days, systematically transferring every aspect of his operations to Do-yeon, teaching him the relationships, the deals, the delicate balance of power that kept the organization running. I helped where I could, but mostly I prepared for our new life. I'd chosen New Zealand, far from Korea, far from the organization, beautiful and peaceful and safe. A place where we could disappear. Chioma was excited, already applying to transfer her university credits. She'd adapted to the situation with surprising resilience, even joking that she'd gone from boring Lagos student to Korean Mafia princess in a matter of weeks. You know, she said one evening as we packed, Mama is going to have a heart attack when she finds out the truth. I'd been calling my mother weekly, feeding her the story that I'd married a businessman and we were moving for his work. She was thrilled I'd found love, disappointed she'd missed the wedding, and completely unaware her daughter had married into organized crime. Some truths were better left unsaid. What she doesn't know won't hurt her, I replied. As far as she's concerned, Min-ho is just a very successful, very generous businessman who adores her daughter. Which is technically true, Chioma pointed out. Just leaving out the part about the guns and territory wars and bullet wounds. Minor details. We laughed and it felt good. Normal. Like sisters planning a move, not survivors of a mafia war. On the last day of the month, there was a farewell dinner. The organization threw it, a formal event at an expensive restaurant, all the captains and their families attending. It was strange, surreal even, to be celebrated for leaving. But Min-ho had earned their respect. And surprisingly, so had I. Do-yeon gave a speech, thanking Min-ho for his leadership and promising to honor his legacy. Several captains toasted to our health and happiness. Even Min-ho's uncle attended, though he said nothing, just watched with those cold, calculating eyes. As the evening wound down, Min-ho and I stood on the restaurant balcony, looking out over Seoul. Do you have any regrets? I asked quietly. He thought about it. I regret the violence, the people I've hurt, the things I've done that I can never take back. He turned to look at me. But I don't regret you. I don't regret this choice. And I don't regret walking away. What if you get bored? What if civilian life isn't enough? Then I'll find new challenges. We'll build something together. Maybe you open a clinic, maybe I start a legitimate business. Maybe we just travel the world and be disgustingly happy. He smiled. The point isn't what we do. It's that we do it together. He pulled a small box from his pocket. Min-ho, we're already married. I know. But that was a strategic marriage. A protection marriage. A marriage born from necessity. He opened the box, revealing a simple gold band with a small diamond. This is me asking you properly. Without guns or threats or family obligations. Just me, asking you. Esther Okonkwo, will you marry me? Again? For real this time? Tears filled my eyes. We're leaving tomorrow. When would we even?
Tonight, he said. Right now. Just us, Chioma, Dion.
Simple ceremony, real vows, real choice. I looked at this man who'd turned my world upside down, who'd taught me to shoot and fight and survive, who'd given up an empire because he loved me. Yes, I said, laughing through my tears. Yes, you ridiculous man. I'll marry you. Again. We got married on the roof of the penthouse at midnight, Seoul glittering below us like scattered stars. Do-yoon officiated, apparently. He had the credentials, a fact that both amused and didn't surprise me. Chioma stood as my witness, crying happy tears. There was no expensive hanbok, no traditional ceremony, no organization politics. Just Min-ho in a simple suit, me in a white dress Chioma had helped me pick out, and vows we wrote ourselves. I promise to love you, Min-ho said, his voice steady despite the emotion in his eyes. Not because I have to, not because it's strategic, but because I choose to. Every day, for the rest of my life. I promise to protect you, to listen to you, to be worthy of the sacrifice you made when you saved me in that alley. You gave me a second chance at life, Esther. I'm going to spend that life making you happy. I had to wipe my eyes before I could speak. I promise to love you, I said, even when you're overprotective and bossy. I promise to stand beside you, not behind you. I promise to build a life with you that honors both who we were and who we're becoming. You gave me adventure, purpose, and a love I never knew I needed. I'm going to spend my life showing you that you made the right choice choosing me. We exchanged rings, simple gold bands, no ostentation, just commitment. And when Do-yoon pronounced us married, Min-ho kissed me like it was the first time and the last time and every time in between. To new beginnings, Chioma toasted with champagne. To new beginnings, we echoed. We left Seoul the next morning. Private plane to Auckland, one last use of Min-ho's connections and resources before we went completely civilian. Our luggage was minimal. We were leaving almost everything behind. As the plane took off and Seoul disappeared beneath us, Min-ho laced his fingers through mine. Second thoughts? He asked. Not even one. I replied honestly. You. Only that we didn't do this sooner. Chioma was asleep in the seat across from us, exhausted from the whirlwind of the past weeks. We had hours of flight ahead of us. I leaned my head on Min-ho's shoulder, and he wrapped his arm around me. What do you think we'll do first? He asked. In New Zealand? Sleep for a week, I said immediately. Then maybe find a small house. Nothing fancy. Just somewhere quiet and safe. And then we figure out the rest. Together. Together, he agreed, and kissed the top of my head. I closed my eyes, listening to the steady rhythm of his heartbeat, and thought about how far we'd come. 2 months ago, I was a lonely nurse's aide eating ramen in a tiny apartment, invisible in a foreign city. Now I was Esther Kong, wife to a former Mafia boss, survivor of a bullet wound, sister to a brave young woman, and on my way to a new life in a new country. It wasn't the life I'd planned. It was better. 6 months later. The clinic was small, but it was ours. Located in a quiet neighborhood outside Auckland, it served the immigrant community, people who, like me, had come to New Zealand looking for a fresh start. I'd passed my licensing exams, and now I worked as a real nurse, helping people in both English and Korean. Min-ho had started a consulting business, completely legitimate, helping companies with logistics and supply chain management. Turns out 15 years of running criminal shipping operations translated well to civilian business. Who knew? Chioma was thriving at university, studying international business, and dating a sweet Kiwi boy who had no idea about her sister's past. We'd bought a house on the coast, nothing extravagant, just a comfortable 3-bedroom with a view of the ocean. We had a garden where Min-ho grew vegetables with surprising enthusiasm. We had neighbors who waved hello and knew us as the nice Korean couple and the nurse's sister. We were normal. It was perfect. I was in the garden one Saturday afternoon, reading a book while Min-ho attempted to fix our fence. He was terrible at DIY, but refused to admit it when my phone rang. Unknown number. Korean country code. My stomach clenched. We'd cut all ties with Seoul. Who would be calling? I answered cautiously. Hello. Mrs. Kong. Do-yoon's voice. I hope I'm not interrupting your peaceful life.
Do-yoon.
Min-ho was already on alert, moving toward me. What's wrong? Is someone? Everyone is fine, Do-yoon assured me quickly. The organization is stable. Your uncle sends his regards, though he'd never admit it. I'm calling with news I thought you'd want to hear. What news? Song Jay Huk is dead. Silence. What happened? I asked carefully. He tried to come back to Korea. Broke his exile. Thought enough time had passed that we'd forgotten. He was wrong. Do-yoon's voice was matter-of-fact. We found him at Incheon Airport. He didn't suffer, if that matters to you.
I thought about it.
About the man who'd terrorized my sister, shot me, tried to destroy everything we'd built. I'm not glad he's dead, I said slowly. But I'm not sad either. He made his choices. Indeed.
Do-yoon paused.
There's something else. He had a journal. Detailed plans for revenge, including targeting you and Chioma in New Zealand. He'd tracked you down, was planning another attack. My blood ran cold. When? Next month, according to his notes. But now he's dead, and his remaining allies have been neutralized. You're safe. Truly safe. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Thank you for telling us. One more thing. Min-ho's uncle, he wanted me to tell you something. He said. Do-yoon's voice softened. He said he was wrong. That you've proven yourself worthy. That Min-ho made the right choice. He won't admit it directly, but he respects you both. Tears prickled my eyes. Tell him thank you.
I will.
Live well, Mrs. Kong. You've earned it. The call ended. Min-ho pulled me into his arms. It's really over, he murmured. No more looking over our shoulders. No more threats. Just us. Just us, I agreed. That night, we had dinner on our back porch, grilled fish, vegetables from our garden, New Zealand wine. Chioma joined us, chattering about her classes and her boyfriend, and her plans for summer break. It was ordinary, domestic, peaceful, everything we'd fought for. As the sun set over the ocean, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, Min-ho took my hand. Do you remember what you said to me in that warehouse? When we confronted Jay Huk. Which part? That we were building something new, something better, something he'd never understand. Min-ho's eyes met mine. You were right. Look at this, Esther. Look at what we built. I looked around at our home, our life, our family, at Chioma laughing at something on her phone, at the garden we'd planted together, at the peace we'd carved out of chaos. We did good, I said softly. We did amazing, he corrected, and kissed me as the sun disappeared below the horizon. And that's where our story ends. Not with bullets and bloodshed, not with dramatic sacrifice or tragic endings, but with a sunset, a garden, and two people who chose each other despite impossible odds. I saved a dying Korean Mafia boss in an alley. He woke up and claimed I was his wife. And somehow, impossibly, we made it true. Not the version his organization needed. Not the version built on lies and protection. But the real version. Built on love, trust, and the choice to keep choosing each other. Every day. For the rest of our lives. And that is the end of Esther and Min-ho's story. From a bloody alley in Seoul to a peaceful house in New Zealand. From a fake marriage of protection to real love that conquered everything. From a nurse who saved a stranger to a woman who saved herself and the man she loves. If you've been with me since part 1, thank you. Thank you for investing in these characters, for riding this emotional roller coaster, for caring about whether Esther and Min-ho got their happy ending.
They did.
They earned it. But before you go, I need you to do something for me. If you love this trilogy, if you felt the fear when Esther got shot, the romance when Min-ho proposed on that rooftop, the satisfaction when they finally found peace, then smash that like button right now.
Seriously.
Show this story some love. And if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? I create stories like this all the time. Mafia romance, billionaire tales, unexpected love stories that'll keep you glued to your screen. Hit subscribe and turn on all notifications so you never miss the next emotional journey. Now, I want to hear from you in the comments. What was your favorite moment from this trilogy? Was it when Esther first saved Min-ho? When she stood up to Song Jay Huk at the wedding? The rooftop proposal? The final confrontation with Jay Huk? Tell me what made your heart race. And here's the big question. Do you think they'll stay peaceful in New Zealand, or will Min-ho's past come back to haunt them one more time? Because I'm thinking about a bonus episode, maybe checking in on them a year later, seeing how domestic life is really treating a former mafia boss. Would you want to see that? Let me know in the comments. If you made it all the way to the end of this trilogy, you're a real one. Thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me tell you this story. Thank you for caring about Esther and Min-ho as much as I do. Share this with someone who loves romance, mafia stories, strong heroines who don't back down, and love stories that feel earned, not given. And remember to check out the other stories on my channel. I've got more intense romances, more unexpected love stories, more tales that'll make you feel everything. Until the next story, stay dangerous, stay in love, and remember, sometimes the best love stories start with saving a stranger in an alley. This is the end of Esther and Min-ho's journey, but your journey continues. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, beautiful souls.